500 banks to crash. Look at silver now. Mind-blowing. Regional banks are seeing the end of the road, and this is where we need to look closely at silver. Let's start. This is an article by Will Daniel telling us that a top real estate CEO once warns 500 more banks, 500 more, that's a key word there, 500 more banks will either fail or be consolidated over the next 2 years. The article starts, ever since 4 regional banks holding a combined $532 billion in assets, headlined by Silicon Valley Bank, failed in March 2023. We remember this. We remember this like it was yesterday. Ever since then, regional banks have been under scrutiny for regulators, and given the commercial real estate industry's issues, commercial real estate has been on the tip of everyone's tongue, and it should be lately. The article says, given the commercial real estate industry's issues, a key focus has been on banks with the most exposure to that volatile sector. In an upcoming white paper seen exclusively by Fortune, Scott Reckler described how regional banks will face a slow-moving train wreck as waves of commercial real estate loans mature over the next few years. That is just such a frightening image. A slow-moving train wreck as waves of commercial real estate loans mature over the next few years. Reckler has faith that many commercial real estate owners, operators, and lenders will figure out a way to overcome the challenges facing them, but he's more skeptical about regional banks. I think there's going to be 500 or more fewer banks in the U.S. over the next 2 years, he says. 500 or more fewer over the next 2 years. I'm not saying they're all going to fail, but they're going to be forced into consolidation if they don't fail. They don't have a business model that's going to enable them. This is him talking. They don't have a business model that's continuing to enable them to stand alone and be competitive and retain deposits and service customers the way they once have. This issue with commercial real estate, ever since coming out of the pandemic, this is just really so pressing, and it's coming down on these regional banks because everything is maturing over the next 2 years. And when we see this issue of these failing banks, along with the massive national debt we have, with ever-pressing, persistent inflation, with layoffs, unemployment, this is the time to put ourselves in the best position possible. And this is why I am steadfast and I'm still bullish on silver. That's my view on silver, especially now that it is still within reach, right? I look at gold. I'm excited to see the bump in gold lately. This is what we've been waiting for, and I know that silver is going to follow. I still remain bullish on silver. I feel that just as history has shown, silver will get a bump just as much as gold has gotten a bump, and this is a great time to protect ourselves. Looking at everything that's going on with the economics in our country, silver is the safe store of wealth, clearly. Now, look, the economic forces at play that impact regional banks are not taking place in a bubble. They're not. Check out, this is an article by Shannon Thaler. And this article shows that JP Morgan has AI-driven management software that has slashed manual work by nearly 90%. This is everyone's nightmare about AI in the workplace is coming right at us. 90%. This article says JP Morgan has been using cash flow management software that runs on artificial intelligence, and it has reportedly slashed manual work for some of its corporate customers by almost 90%. The AI tool called Cashflow, we've heard about this, it's called Cashflow Intelligence. It was launched last year to allow corporate treasuries to analyze and forecast cash flows, according to Bloomberg. It has seen tremendous interest from JP Morgan's clients. Tony Wimmer, the head of data and analytics at JP Morgan's wholesale payment unit, says. This article says the Wall Street behemoth has roughly 2,500 clients using the AI-backed tool. That's a lot. 2,500 clients using this AI-backed tool. And its success thus far has JP Morgan closer to charging for the service rather than just giving it away for free. It wasn't immediately clear when JP Morgan's cash flow intelligence would be available for a monthly fee, but now it's looking like they are going to make some money off of it. And that's the motivation to use this AI to create more layoffs. I don't know if the word create more layoffs, but go ahead with more layoffs. And JP Morgan is not alone lately with what we've been hearing for layoffs. Many companies, even the largest retailers with Macy's and Walmart, it has been shocking us lately with these layoffs. And many of us have been downsized due to AI. Ours have been cut due to AI taking over positions. Massive layoffs have taken sources of income, and now to see AI used to replace a human workforce like we've been seeing, that's the uncertainty that tells me to continue and stack silver the way I've been doing for years and decades. This is the uncertainty that we all feel. And looking at the weakening of our US dollar, it just reinforces that silver is the way to go, especially now that it is still at a price point that we can pick up a few ounces, and maybe not these expensive reverse proofs, but I show them because they're much more prettier to look at on camera than regular generic rounds. Now, the shocking part about this shift we're seeing in the workforce is that it is putting people that already have limited bargaining power. It's putting people in a position to accept less pay and less hours at work. This is from Yahoo Finance. This article is telling us there's no playbook for this. It says, this CEO cut employee salaries by 20% and implemented a 4-day work week. We've been hearing a lot about this lately. This is really frightening. Implemented a 4-day work week to avoid layoffs and save the company. Here's what happened. This is an article by Lou Carlozo, Yahoo Finance. It says, see if you can follow this workplace math of 40 hours minus 8 hours minus 20% pay. As everyone that works a full-time job, we don't want to hear cut in hours, and we definitely do not want to hear a decrease in pay by 20%. This article says that rather than return to traditional 5-day week, Procuracy, that's the name of this company, adopted the 4-day work week as permanent. Man who runs this company said he noticed how focused and energized the staff had become. Well, clearly, you're afraid that you're losing hours and you're losing part of your pay. You're going to really snap together and hold on to what's remaining. So it says the mindset of everyone just shifted, he said. It was such an amazing experience to see that, and I decided there's no turning back, that he's going to go ahead with pushing this forward. Man is hardly alone in adopting a shortened work week to make his staff happier and more productive, the article says. In fact, it's a movement with roots that trace back to an organization called 4-Day Week Global. Now, I don't know much about this movement for a 4-day work week, but I do know one thing for sure. People do not look to decrease their work week and get paid less. That's not the goal. The goal is to retain your salary and go to a 4-day work week. So the struggle here, or maybe the trick here, is that they're taking away 20% of your pay. That's not going to work for many people. So if you think if you think that a 4-day work week sounds great, you really need to look to see if your pay is being decreased. I mean, many Americans are struggling with living paycheck to paycheck, just struggling with credit card debt that has been booming and enormous. And here, this is an amazing, eye-popping article talk about living paycheck to paycheck. And this is from Bloomberg, and it says 1/3 of Americans. Listen to this: 1/3 of Americans making $250,000 as a salary, $250,000 a year. 1/3 of them live paycheck to paycheck. Did you catch that? Americans making $250,000 a year, 1/3 of them are living paycheck to paycheck. This article says cash is especially tight for top earners of millennial cohort. It says very few reported issues covering all their household expenses. Now, there's been speak lately that people making $100,000, it was $150,000 a year in some areas, in some wealthy areas in the United States, making $150,000 a year, you are considered lower middle class. That's how expensive and how difficult it is to live and get by in these areas. Making $150,000 and you're considered lower middle class. That is absolutely shocking, and that is the uncertainty that keeps me stacking. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a regular guy stacking silver, stacking gold when I can afford to pick it up.